Welcome, ladies and gents, to another episode of Shiptalk with a very special guest. We've got Jale from the Xeno
Jale.
Linguist. Jale,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
from the Xeno Linguist community. Thanks for hanging around. We've got the interview that's was released a couple of days ago. Go check out that video. And in this week's episode of Ship Talk, guys, in the spirit of all things alien, thanks to you, Jale, is the Khartu-Al is going to be the topic of our conversation. So I'll just go through the background. Heartwall is a light fighter. It was designed by it's a Xi'an company that made it. It's not a human company replicating it. It's actually a proper Xi'an ship. Is that right?
That's correct. It's made by Alpoa, which means the company of House Poa, and every company in the Xi'an Empire has a monopoly, and their one function in the universe, is to make Xi'an fighters. Whether or not they make larger ships is a little ambiguous at the moment. But they certainly are the ones that not only do they make fighters, but no other company is allowed to make fighters.
Oh wow. Okay, so so all these houses come together and decide that, hey, you, Mister, this house is going to just make fighters for the whole.
The emperor decides. So the emperor and the centralized bureaucracy, which all people must serve at some point in their lives, they decide, and it's part of their system, which basically they destroyed their home planet in a civil war, and in reaction to that, set up this whole new system where they were going to say, right, we'll have one house who keeps everybody else in line, and essentially kind of economically cripple everyone else. So everyone's become completely independent. There's nobody is itself powerful enough to overthrow anything else, because they just lose like their food or their munitions. And bear in mind, in this sense, houses is much more like countries. We're thinking about, like, what if we said France is now just going to make like wine, and Britain's now just going to make like something that Britain makes, fish. I don't know. And it's a bit Hunger Games as well, I suppose, in that respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like keeping the peace.
Yeah.
Yeah, through interdependency, because now I depend on all these other houses for my food, bombers, heavy fighters, machine guns. I only create light fighters, for example. Okay.
And it's kept mostly the peace for a couple of tens of thousands of years now. There's only a brief interregnum where there was a little bit of scrapping, but yeah, it's been a pretty successful system for them in a lot of ways.
The average individual is not considered in that situation. That's got to be fucking boring.
Oh, or not. You don't know.
I could tell you, me personally, that shit would be boring. I want no part of that. But one of the things that I found in this research was that this model is an export model of a different ship.
Yes.
Now help me, Jale, if I'm not pronouncing this correctly. Is the Qatar?
Yeah, so Khartu-Al is the model we have now. There was a time when they started saying choir, which was going to like as in like a singing choir, but spelt funny. And that was supposed to be based on the Shen word choir, which means a scalpel or a blade. But that was a kind of fumbling Xi'an attempt at marketing, which is an alien concept to them. They never had to market anything because they have monopolies. So they were trying to sell. So it's actually had three names. The UEN, the Navy, used to call it the Spark. That was their code name for it. And then they tried to sell it to us as the Choir or Quile. It's a little bit funny on pronunciation. People have latched on to it just being called the Khartu-Al, which means the export Khartu. And a Khartu or a Khartu is a type of like stinging fly. And a lot of Alpoa stuff seems to be related to animals. So the Santokyai is their other fighter, the medium fighter, that's named after a predator. And they get their guns from Khartu-Al Aggregate, which is another house, and that was called that's the guns on the Santok Yai called the Yengtu, which is a type of wasp. So there's all these kind of like zoological references.
Yeah, cool.
Oh yeah.
It kind of
The owl.
It looks like an
The owl
insect.
means exploit. Yeah.
Right. It's a light fighter. I think we need to speak about the thrusters because that's one thing that differentiates these Xi'an ships from human ships. Is the thrusters, like the main thrusters? Everything is kind of, you know, movable, if you like, so they can point all their thrusters in different directions, and that gives them like extreme agility. Would that be correct in assessing that? Yeah.
Yeah, you could say that they are highly maneuverable. And
Maneuvering thrusters, and there's actually a shit ton of those on there too.
yeah, it's like they got 4 main engines, and those 4 main engines also act as thrusters. So you get a really wide range of movement and possibilities to fly you don't necessarily have in other fighters.
Like,
Yeah, because the human doctrine would be that you've got a big thruster on the back, and then you're using maneuvering thrusters to point that away from where you want to go. Whereas the Xi'an thing is you just turn all the thrusters at once, and you can do whatever you want at that point.
Yeah. I don't actually know how that works on the biological level. I mean, a human can only take so many Gs before you start losing vision and just pass out. Don't know if the Xi'an can take more. I assume so, but I'm not 100% sure about that.
Dude,
Whether or not they can,
Ninja Turtles.
Ninja Turtles, man.
They can take that shit.
whether or not they can take more, they don't like to. They actually, so there's a word in Xi'an called, which is maman, which is from the English madman, and it means to be crazy like a human. And actually, I'm wearing my T-shirt underneath with "Eh, tue maman, come be crazy with a human like me," and this was from another cosplay contest, and that comes from them watching human pilots and thinking those guys are crazy. Who would pull off those kind of moves? So the idea that they can do crazy moves, but do the Xi'an actually use it for crazy moves, is a different story.
They need to watch Top Gun.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not sure if that's culturally relevant to a Xi'an, but
Oh
It
no,
can be.
dude. So
It can be.
So cinema is culturally relevant to all sentient creatures.
okay.
I mean, they'd consider it a short film, like a little YouTube short. It's only 90 minutes?
Yeah. Absolutely.
That's
Top
right.
Gun.
Yeah.
All right, so size 3 weapons.
Yep, 2 size 3 guns.
Size 3 gimbaled, you can replace them with size 4s.
Personally, I think size 4 fixed is much better than size 3 gimbaled on that, because you can.
I didn't know that.
What with the maneuverability, you can really keep your guns on a target, and it packs a punch when it's like that. I can tell you that.
Wow. So it's the same as a Talon, two size 4s. Potentially.
Yeah, they had to buff it because it was a bit weak, and that was the buff they did.
Gotcha.
It's also really fun to fly. I mean, if you've never done that at IAE, rent one and go have fun. It's really fun, and it's also got some different quantum jump effects, which are, I think that they look way better than the regular human quantum jump drives.
It's trippy.
It's got
man.
like some weird circles appearing and stuff. Yeah, no, but it looks different. It's got a different hue. It's got different effects. It's the sounds of the ship are just. I think they're the best ship in game sound wise. It's
they've got a very unique engine sound, eh? Like you can hear them. You can tell it's Khartu-Al.
It's got an organic feel to it. I'd say almost.
So does its transformation. It has a real kind of like arthropodic clicking noise, which is kind of disconcerting and alien, and therefore works. It's good a little effect.
The transformation of what it is saying, like from landing mode to flying mode, is outstanding. It's beautiful, and these Xi'an ships, once they're blossomed, if you like, or in flying mode, they're very vertical ships, aren't they? They're very vertical, as opposed to human ships, which are very kind of sort of length based, as opposed to verticality.
Verticality was always going to be something that Chris Roberts wanted to see with the Xi'an, apparently. So it came down even to the idea that the language was going to work vertically. Their architecture, although we haven't seen any, is likely to be quite vertical, whereas the concept art we've seen for Banu architecture is more sort of pyramidal, I'd say. So it's kind of like the go-to. If you want to start designing something Xi'an, you want to start with like something tall and thin and go from there. And they've been hitting that, you know.
Yeah. So they're hanging.
And you will get no missiles with the ship.
Yeah, you get no missiles, but you don't need them. It's a really, really able fighter.
The
Xi'an do have missiles. They just don't use them on this ship. They have a word for it, at least.
It's a wasp, right? It's a swarm. It's designed to come at you in couple of inches.
It would look like that if you had a fleet of these things. It would look like a horde of insects.
Yeah,
a little bit. Yeah.
And it's a wonderful picture that the first experience people actually had getting up close to this thing was one was found abandoned just after the end of the Cold War. And there's a wonderful bit of concept art that's very much like the Area 51 in Independence Day, with this alien ship hanging there, and all these scientists with clipboards sort of studying it. And I love that bit of concept art for it.
Oh, we'll try and find it and stick it on.
You're talking about.
I'm going to talk about the. So, is there any?
Got it. Found it.
Jale, is there anything that you can tell us about this Gravitlev? Is that how does that?
Yeah. So they kind of tying certain ones of the sci-fi technologies into the aliens, and with the implication that maybe we learned from them, copied from them, stole it from them. And Gravitlev is a quintessentially like Xi'an thing. They invented Gravitlev millennia ago, and it's a part of everyday life. So a lift won't use a mechanism; it'll use Gravitlev. The steps on the Khartu-Al is where you see these panels come out, and they're Gravitlev. And a couple of years ago, during actually I think it was last year's Alien Week, I got to ask the question, what's the most trivial way they use Gravitlev? And they said it was rearranging furniture to like the table, getting the table set for dinner. It'd be like
oh wow,
the Mickey Mouse with doing his magic with the sort of the dishes coming out. You know, they'll have Gravitlev on their clothing just to have like an element of their clothing hover around their head or something.
Jeez.
So
Cool. Okay.
So yeah, they're like showing that, I think is I think also the paneling, the sort of the MFDs, they're supposed to also be animating by some sort of Gravitlev. So when you see something that's not connected on a Xi'an ship, that's actually supposed to be like it's levitating and being this kind of gravity technology.
I was gonna ask, like, why would you use such like precious technology for the stairs of a ship? But you've just answered my question: is that it's so commonplace and they can use it at any scale. So
it's like if you found an alien species that never used paint and only ever had bare metal, and to them a paint was like a new thing, and they'd ask like, why do you paint your ships? It's so valuable.
Yeah,
we don't consider it that. It's just normal to us.
Well, if you want to get your Khartu-Al, you can get your Khartu-Al at Astro Armada for 2.1
million.
Yes, million. Actually, to be exact, it's 2,113,900.
I don't know what that is in Quen Xi'an. We haven't got the up-to-date conversion rates. Xi'an currency.
Yeah. It probably goes
Slippage.
It goes up and down, like when we lose a few battles against the Vandal, exchange rate goes down. Yeah. Has anyone got a Heartwall?
I had one as a loner. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I have one as loading.
Used it for a while. It was pretty fun. I mean, can't complain about the ship. The only thing it had going back then was some sort of bug when you went into the landing mode and transformed, that it wouldn't actually fly the way you wanted it because of how the thrusters used to rearrange themselves. Not sure they fixed that since I've flown it last, but yeah, that was a little bit inconvenient, but there was ways to get around that too. So.
I mean, the biggest thing for me is there isn't a single Xi'an letter on the whole thing. They have like placeholder squiggles, and they haven't done the UI yet. I think they used to use the same UI as the Vandal ships. And it's like, oh man, you gotta just swap the text out. Just change it from squiggle to the word for danger. Come on, come on.
Man.
They haven't updated it since even they updated the Alpoa logo. So
CIG. Come on.
Same with the Nox.
You can't get past the Xeno Linguistics like that, just with gibberish.
They just took a few hit points on immersion.
Yeah.
Well, it did predate the language, so it does get that pass. I'm just saying it hasn't been updated since they updated the language.
I can imagine you getting in the ship, Jale, and like, what is this gibberish? I'm out.
Well, they have thought about like the idea that an alien ship that was made by aliens, or is like the Vandal one, which was captured and sort of modified, that they might, when they get damaged, start spewing out alien stuff on the displays, like the original operating system is inserting itself over as error codes.
Yeah.
That would be so much fun, wouldn't it? Like if it's flickering into Xi'an and then going back to English, that
would be awesome.
That would actually.
We want that, CIG. We want that.
I want
that. One last point is the controls. I call them booby controls.
Yeah, for a good reason.
They're like two balls that you move around, and that's been altered to fit a human, hasn't it? Like, or not, or is that? So it's weird that they didn't just go with the joystick. I don't know.
Well, it's alien technology, man. So they got the spheres.
Like,
You make a good point. Like maybe the human one should have a joystick. One feature that you see in the Khartu-Al that you should expect to see in, I think, more Xi'an ships is the idea of the place that holds the people being dome shaped, because that's their word for cockpit is actually the clear dome that holds someone. So that's another little feature to watch out for.
The clear dome that holds someone.
Yeah, like
so I need you to go in the clear dome that holds someone and grab me my multi-tool.
That makes more sense than go to the place where the pit where the rooster lives.
Yeah.
That or the place where you stick a cock.
Yeah. I didn't want to go down that way, but yeah. Anyway, do you guys like the looks of it? Yes or no?
I like it. Yeah, I mean the exotic shape of it makes it feel a little more alien than it already does. So yeah, totally cool with it.
Definitely. Yeah. I would agree with Ace on it. It's got an exotic look that is exclusive to Apple, and each ship manufacturer has the exclusive designs and unique characteristics. And I mean, I like it. Would I fly it? Probably not. Would I test it out? Yeah.
Yeah, I like how the spindliness kind of communicates the idea that it's maybe made with like stronger materials than we have. But I think that something weird is that all the Xi'an ships seem to be bright colors, and the Xi'an are supposed to like muted colors, and all the Banu ships seem to be muted colors, and the Banu are supposed to like bright colors. So I think they kind of got the color palettes the wrong way around for the aliens out of them. Maybe.
Yeah, I'm hoping for more skins in the future.
Yeah, like Banu ships should look like this box back here. Come on, like that's what we're told. So
especially considering their generation ships and being given.
Well, then they're not really anymore, because they got rid of the idea of Banu actually even having families, because they just sell their children.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I mean,
It's brand new.
for me, the alien ships are really in a sci-fi world kind of define the world in a sense. Like they're always the most memorable is the aliens, the alien ships, the alien cultures and stuff. And I think so far, like CIG is doing a really good job at building out these civilizations. Again, like Elder Scrolls Online, like the Imperials were like the Romans, human Romans. They weren't that exciting. It's the Dark Elves and the Khajiit and these sort of how would I say, exotic races that are more memorable. And we haven't even seen these guys in the verse yet. We've just seen a couple of ships. So super excited for the aliens to come in.
I think something that's really exciting that CIG decided to do that's also ambitious and relates to Elder Scrolls is many sci-fis will say, these are the ships from these aliens and these are the ships from these aliens, and they kind of represented as like a single manufacturer. But they've decided to try and make at least two Xi'an manufacturers that are supposed to both look Xi'an but look different from one another. And I think they're doing it well. And that's just like with the Dark Elves that we have this in Elder Scrolls, where all the architecture of the different Dark Elves looks like it's from the same playbook, but are distinctive from one another.
Yeah.
And that kind of has added so much depth for me to have this new one, Gatak, coming in with the cargo ship, the Ryder. That it still looks like it's from the same culture, but it doesn't look like it's from the same designer. That's great.
Yeah, they done a good job on that. Totally agree.
And so I think that wraps up the ship talk for this week. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you and see you next time.